In the shadow of the Aspire Tower, the aspirations of a nation rest on tonight. With the World Cup secured and Qatar's reputation as a world sporting hub assured, all that is left is to prove that they belong on the pitch. And Kuwait provide the stumbling block to that dream being achieved this evening. An insipid display against Uzbekistan gave way to an intense and inspired riposte against China. If that can be repeated, then Qatar should qualify for the last eight for only the second time in their history. But Kuwait is a dangerous opponent, cursed by bad luck, questionable officiating and rank inexperience. They're still without a point, but their situation is not quite pointless. It is still feasible. They could go through if results fall their way, but they must take the maximum this evening. So it's a winner-take-all, probably, as Qatar meets Kuwait, with one eye to be cast in the direction of Al Gharafa, where Uzbekistan take on China at the same time. Here come the flag bearers, and following them will be the two teams for this Group A decider, or at least one of them, Qatar and Kuwait. As-Salam Al-Amiri, the anthem for peace reverberating around the Khalifa Stadium as Qatar have their date with destiny. But attack is the mantra from Bruno Metsu tonight, as it was against China. This could be a very intense 90 minutes indeed. Qatar are unchanged, which means two-goal hero Yusuf Ahmed has recovered from his bumps and bruises and joins Sebastian Soria in attack. There's no place for the fit-again midfielder Fabio Cesar, who has to be content with a place on the bench. Hamid Ismail remains in midfield, where he had a much better game against China than he did at fullback against Uzbekistan. Our referee may need a cool head tonight. He is Abdul Malik of Singapore. His assistants Jeffrey Goh and Hajir Maidin. The two captains, Nawaf Al-Khaldi, the Kuwait goalkeeper, and Bilal Mohammed of Qatar. Now Goran Tefegzic has made 3 changes for Kuwait. Striker Yusuf Nasser, midfielder Jara Alatiki and defender Farhad Shaheen join the suspended Messaid on the sidelines. So Hamed Naif leads the line with the dangerous Bada Al-Mutwa in behind. Salah Al-Sheikh comes into midfield and Ahmed Al-Rashidi is drafted into the defence. Qatar, all in purple tonight. That is the team's nickname, Al-Anabi.
We don't receive any goal. We play like a man, and we have to improve. Listen, we don't take any risk. The easy pass, we play easy pass. We have to win, huh?
Interesting that the huddle is conducted in English. There is Bruno Metsu, the Qatar coach. He'll perhaps be thinking back to the final match day of the group stage in the 2007 Gulf Cup. Then his UAE side had to beat Kuwait to go through, and they did by 3-2 and went on to win the trophy. Goran Tefegzic has lost just 5 of his 36 games in charge of Kuwait. Unfortunately, 2 of those were at this Asian Cup, and that's why they are on the brink of elimination. So Qatar and Kuwait, combined population a quarter of Beijing. Kick off with one eye squarely focused on events at Al Gharafa, where China are playing Uzbekistan. But first, Andy Harper, they've got to get the job done here.
Good evening, Simon. This group has gone exactly the way the local organisers would want it. Qatar still very much in it. In fact, their fate certainly in their own hands. A draw will do them to start with, and they've got that in their pocket. They'll need to build certainly from that solid foundation. Make sure they don't lose the game. They were inspiring the other night against China. Kuwait have played without luck. It's about time that turned for the blue wave. They've played better, far better than no points on the competition table would suggest. So this one is all set to be a cracker.
First corner of the match inside the first minute, to be delivered by Hamid Ismail eventually. We'll keep you posted with any goals that occur at Al Gharafa between Uzbekistan and China, and all the possibilities of this Group A. Here's the corner from Hamid Ismail, and Sebastian, well, he was unmarked, but couldn't steer the header downwards.
Well, he hasn't been in great nick this tournament. This is game 3, and he's yet to score, which is unusual because he's had some great chances. Mr. Sitter at the start of the last game, and it was a difficult header to ultimately make contact because there were defenders in the way, but having found the space, he was inside the 6-yard box and he just got right underneath it. Geez, that was a good chance early, really good chance early.
Well, the law of averages suggests that sooner or later Sebastian's got to get a goal. His international record suggests so, but he's Won 2 and a bit games now without one, as you say, Andy, and if they don't win tonight, he won't get another opportunity. Now, Mohamed Kasola's long throws were a feature of the previous game against the Chinese. Launches it long again. Now, Afkali can't get there, and it's put behind for another corner by Yaqub Al-Taher.
And a very nervous start from Kuwait, the normally reliable goalkeeper, scrambling badly.
Hussein Fadel, a little bit winded perhaps from the collision, but a really bright start from the hosts. Ahmed Ismail delivered a good corner from the other side. That's not a bad one either, partly cleared by the goalkeeper. Sebastian, intelligent ball. Ahmed Ismail trying to get in behind the Kuwait defence. Down he goes, but no foul.
Well, he's an exciting prospect, Ahmed Ismail, as a right midfielder, not as a right fullback. He was destroyed game 1 by Jasur Kasanov.
It's actually a pretty good punch from Nawaf Al-Khaldi, under heavy traffic.
Sorry, Simon, look at the number 2. He really does like to get in behind opposing defenders. He likes to utilise the space immediately in behind. He's got a good turn of speed. It's a good contest, that, for the ball. Al-Khaldi just getting some attention. He's been overworked very early. Problems with the thumb by the looks of things.
Well, the collision was with Yusuf Ahmed. Maybe he's just jarred one of the digits or even his upper forearm. I'm sure he'll be okay, the Kuwaiti captain.
Well, it's going to be a fascinating clash this, Simon. Qatar's best route to victory will be to try and pressurise Kuwait high up the field, as they did so effectively against China. Defensively, Qatar look very frail, so they won't want Kuwait getting into their half at all. And you can see the maroon shirts are swarming upfield to keep Kuwait in their own part of the field.
Well, that high-intensity game worked wonders for them against China. They just didn't allow the opposition to settle.
And the difference probably tonight with Kuwait is a team that's more comfortable playing against Qatar, know them better than China do. According to my assessment, have a better armoury than China at the moment. Al-Mutwa, the number 17, is a star. Real potential for him to hurt Qatar in that space in between the central midfield and Qatar's central defence. And out wide with Walid Ali and Al-Anesi. Fahad, the number 7, and number 15. Speedy, natural wingers. And if Kuwait can settle on the ball, move it upfield, and then spread the play diagonally to either flank, Qatar are going to be in trouble. So Bruno Metsu's men will be working feverishly to keep Kuwait in their own half. There'll be no sitting back and inviting them on.
Two times title winners, of course, in this region. Kuwait were highly fancied, perhaps, as a dark horse for this tournament at the outset of this Asian Cup. Won the West Asian title and the Gulf Cup. As Qasim Burhan plays as an auxiliary sweeper. But they haven't had a stroke of luck, have they? Al-Azraq, the blue?
No, they were destabilised badly against China game 1.
This is Farhad with the distinctive white headband and yellow boots. And now the burst through the centre from the tricky Yusuf Ahmed, exciting the crowd and feeding Sebastian Soria, whose pace will get him there first. And the defender just did enough. Hussein Fadel, another corner. But an exhilarating break from Qatar.
What about this guy? I mean, how long before he's playing in the big leagues of Europe, really? With that sort of acceleration, we saw the goals he scored the other night. Question mark tonight as to whether he can aim up again 2 games in a row. The early signs are good. Brave defending from Hussein Fadel.
Ahmed Ismail goes deep this time. Well, Bruno Metsu, Andy, will be delighted Great start by his side. Ibrahim Majed with the long launch. Lawrence getting a toe in, but illegally so. Vital roles for the Ghanaian-born Lawrence and his central midfield partner, Wissam Rizk, tonight. They played ever so well against China. Control the midfield.
Well, interesting, Simon. There are 2 Kuwaitis in the Qatar team today. Interesting to see how they aim up. Wissam Rizk, of course, has got Palestinian background as well as Kuwaiti. It's offside. The number 13, Ibrahim Majed. Will make Kuwait quite a handy team with those 2 in the roster.
An instructive, Andy, that the pre-game huddle was conducted in English.
Interesting also, Simon, I agree with that. Interesting also, there seemed to be a little disagreement as to how we should approach this game at 30 seconds before kickoff.
Now the flag was up against Yusuf Ahmed, so it wouldn't have counted.
One would have thought those key decisions on how we're going to approach this would have been sorted way before then. Nevertheless, it might have just been emotional energy expressing itself. It's a long shot of the offside just awarded.
Meantime, this is Farhad showing great speed. The delivery just too close to Qasim Burhan. And now it's Lawrence for Qatar. Down the line by Ahmed Ismail. Yusuf Ahmed. There he is again. His speed getting it ahead and trying to play the 1-2 with Sebastian, who was felled, and it's going to be a free kick for Qatar.
Well, 2 and a game bits into this Asian Cup of 2011, Simon, and Yusuf Ahmed is looking the closest thing in the tournament to uncontainable we've got.
Now, as this free kick is about to be taken, news of a goal in the other game. China lead Uzbekistan by 1-0. We'll work out the mathematics of what that would mean if it stays the same after we've seen this free kick. Lawrence or Ibrahim Majed, the natural left footer. Might suit him, the Qatar fullback. Lawrence can hit them too. It is Lawrence. Oh, it was always rising. Took a touch off now off Al-Khaldi. Another corner.
Good strike from Lawrence. Had a good game against China. He started strongly here, forcing the save on the rough Al-Khaldi. Another corner to defend. They've been under pressure early, Kuwait.
Again, Ahmed Ismail to curl it in, and up goes Sebastian Soria. Well dealt with by the Kuwaitis. Wissam Rizk. Sebastian. Ibrahim Majed, oh, and it's here! Yusuf Ahmed has scored! In fact, it's Bilal Mohammed, the captain, leading by example. Listen to the noise around Khalifa Stadium. They wanted the early goal, and they've got it.
Well, too much pressure too early for Kuwait. A series of corners have battered the blue wave. There's no hint of offside. Ibrahim Majed pushing the line, but it was the captain, Bilal Mohammed, who's been a rock of Gibraltar for this team. Getting a goal he so richly deserves, and a goal Qatar needs. Because with China going a goal up, Qatar have to win to keep the group alive. The captain's delivered again.
And Bruno Metsu's tactics have again paid off. Kuwait have barely been out of their own half. What can they do here? Oh, an awkward one, and the goalkeeper spilled it. And that's the danger for Qatar.
Well,
defensively, they are not solid at all.
No, they can't hold water at all. And that's the hope for Kuwait. It's the first goal they've conceded to start a game that hasn't been deflected. Only got themselves to blame for that. But the sign from Walid Ali, jinking onto his left foot and hitting the cross in. Qasim Burham again, proving his frailty. No one there for Kuwait to finish off the half chance that eventuated.
Well, Sebastian Soria claims an assist, if not a goal. Beautifully flighted ball in. And Bilal Mohamed's made no mistake. Now Farhad's little clip of the ankles.
Well, Ibrahim Majid has chased Farhad once. Sorry, there's worse some risk. With the challenge, Ibrahim Majid, the number 3, was there as well. He's had to chase Farhad once. He's not going to want to do it terribly often. There's a clear advantage for Kuwait on either flank. We've seen good examples early in both cases.
This is Amar Matuk, but he's dispossessed with consummate ease, and then he's fouled and play on, says Abdul Malik. Ahmed Ismail a little slow. Kuwait's just being brutally forced back by this purple wave. There will come a point, Andy, when Kuwait will get some possession. They'll have a chance or two, and that'll be the real test of Qatar. That's a poor challenge.
Well, he's a marked man, Farhad. He's beaten his defenders once, and the next 2 possessions he's been summarily clipped over. They know he's a danger man. Yeah, the pity for Kuwait is they just couldn't hold Qatar at bay long enough to get into the game themselves. And we have this wonderful circular competition in this group at the moment, with both Qatar and China leading by the single goal at the moment. Second place, as far as I can crunch the numbers, is completely even.
Well, therefore it would go on head-to-head record, which means that Qatar would go through, because of course they defeated China. But I'm sure the permutations are going to change a few times this evening. In fact, all Qatar have to do is match what China do against Uzbekistan. Situation a bit more complex for Kuwait. They needed to win by quite a hefty margin, so... Oh, now the defender's left it, and he wasn't aware of offside in behind. This is Sebastian. Good scrambling by Kuwait, and turned in by Mohamed Al-Sayed. 2-0 for Qatar. What a start for Bruno Metsu's side. And maybe, just maybe, they're heading for the quarterfinals for only the 2nd time ever.
Well, it's catastrophically bad defending from Kuwait, who are crumbling as we watch. Defenders missing in action. It's gone long into the heart of the lack of surety, otherwise known as defenders dressed in blue. From that point on, it was too late. They scrambled, they threw themselves, but it was all in vain. Qatar with a start of which they could only have dreamt.
Hey, that's a great finish from Al-Sayed. He had to bend it into the corner past not only the goalkeeper, but a defender too. Qasim Burhan celebrates in inimitable fashion. He's quite a character. And the hosts have a 2-goal cushion.
Well, they can finish top of this group too. China beat Uzbekistan and they pour on the goals here. Qatar will go through as number 1 team in the group.
Isn't it amazing what a win can do for confidence, Andy? That opening night against Uzbekistan, they were so tenuous, weren't they? Almost frozen by stage fright.
With the key stat to come out of the game against China. Here they go again. Offside. Was they won 2/3 of the contest around the field. Qatar v China, 44 tackles to 21 or something was one of the stats that came out. It was in that vicinity. And they scored 2 great goals, but the way they started the match, the full field pressure, and their intent on out-fighting China was the key determinant, and they've brought that form into this game. Kuwait haven't known what's hit them, and they've assisted in that assault by some very poor defending.
Here's Bada Al-Mutwa, the star man for Kuwait. He's barely been sighted.
Just a word of caution before anyone gets too carried away. The Australian contingent visited Kuwait City in an Asian Cup qualifier and were up by 2-0 5 minutes into the game. A similarly blistering start by the green and gold. And from somewhere Kuwait came and bombarded the Aussies. Finished 2-2. It could have finished anything really for Kuwait. This is a super finish though.
Great goal by Mohammed Al-Sayed. Just going back to that game, Andy, Kuwait-Australia, they were level by half-time as well.
Yeah.
This is Walid Ali, naturally left-sided player. The muscular Mohamed Kasola, stamping his authority on that particular contest.
I suspect Mohamed Kasola is a little out of position at left fullback. Looks more like a central defender to me. In a close physical contest, it's going to be Mohamed Kasola by a mile over Walid Ali, of whom there isn't much physically, but if he can get some space, find some space for himself and line Kasola up, he's got a good chance of hurting Qatar.
Well, I've got a corner at least, Kuwait.
I guess the only downer for the home team, the opening quarter hour, Simon, is that the stadium isn't full to capacity to cheer them on.
Which we find staggering.
Completely staggering.
Well, that's one of the poorest corners of the Asian Cup. Dreadful. This is Talal. Looking for the ball over the top. Kasim Burhan having to put the brakes on. I'm going to have a few more theatrics from the goalkeeper this evening.
Well, that's the most bankable commodity coming into this game, that Burhan's going to offer his own little side chuck. But so long as he keeps a clean sheet, none of the home fans will mind. It is bizarre, Simon, because the ground isn't full. The national team played so well game 2. A lot of excitement about the way they beat China, and coming into this very important third game, you would have thought there's a good crowd here, but it's not full. And even if they're not football fans, you'd expect for reasons of nationalism they'd be here to cheer home Al-Anabi. Not so.
This is Salah Al-Sheikh. Now Farhad with a chance to get a shift on down the right flank. He's a tricky customer, Farhad. All comes to naught for Kuwait. Bada Al-Mutwa, the big star of this Kuwait side. 38 goals in 55 appearances. Even had a trial with Spanish side Malaga last year. Sebastian. Acres of room here for Hamid Ismail. Well done, Amar Mutu. Bada Al-Mutwa. Walid Ali was on his heels.
Well, they've finally got a foothold in the game, but they're just rushing things at the moment, Kuwait. You know, Metsu breathing very easy after his team's fabulous start. 2 goals to the good already, just 22 minutes played.
Bada switches it for Farhad. Chance to run it, Ibrahim Majid. He's got good feet, hasn't he, Farhad?
But he keeps probing away. Hasn't got a cross in yet, but the cumulative impact of him continuing to take on Ibrahim Majid will surely work in his favour eventually. Again, it's a matter of Kuwait hanging on until their game winners can do some damage. But the defence has to play its part. They have to keep things tight at the back whilst they work their way back into contention.
It's a better delivery, and Ahmed Ismail takes no chances.
And the warning for Qatar is to make sure that they don't take their foot off the accelerator. If they invite Kuwait back into the match, concede territory, allow them to pass the football and get moving, Kuwait could end up chasing this game. And Qatar just holding them off.
Walid Ali, clean pair of heels to Wissam Rizik, but it slams into the side netting.
Never to get his foot around that, not hit it with the full instep. Here's the second goal. Sebastian smelled blood. Mohamed El Sayed with an outstanding finish.
We've got an injury to Mohamed Kasola, so that's why play is stopped for a moment.
Late challenge from Walid Ali. Kasola.
Forward by one of the goal scorers, Bilal Mohammed. This is Kasola, back upon his feet and okay, seemingly. Now the break perhaps on for Kuwait. Bada slips it out for Farhad. Back for Bada. On again, Walid Ali just on his heels, not anticipating.
Just a little bit too cute. Last 2 or 3 times they've worked the ball nicely into the final third. A little angle pass back to the edge of the penalty area, and Bada principally has been then looking to switch the play. A bit more direction at that point would help.
Now Sebastian Soria given far too much room to bring that ball down and feed Yusuf Ahmed. Kuwait have got to be better organised defensively.
Well, they're defending like part-timers at the moment, Kuwait, which is what they are, of course. Players all work in the morning, post officers, policemen, firemen, train at night, compared to their highly paid Qatari opponents tonight, full-time pros all.
Here comes the long bomb from Mohamed Kasola. Lawrence up in the air, and a second time. Syed sniffing for another opportunity, and instead it's Farhad. Clear foul. And there might be a card issued here.
Well, that's at least the 4th foul on Farhad. El Amesi. Yusuf's the one who's going to pick up the yellow card. Yusuf Ahmed. No doubt Qatar know where the danger lies. Part of the danger for them lies tonight. It's out on the right flank with Farhad. Every time he's got the ball, they've tried to tag him.
That's a poor challenge.
They don't tickle those. Really, they don't tickle. Still hasn't got to his feet yet, Farhad. But it would be a shame if one of the key players for Kuwait has been decommissioned.
Named the most valuable player in the recent Gulf Cup success for Kuwait, as we take a check on Mohammed El Sayed's statistics. He's done a lot of work in and around the penalty area, hasn't he? If you want more on those player stats, then visit the official AFC website.
Well, I think the referee should have acted a bit earlier than this, Simon. I don't think he should have waited till the fourth time he was taken out before he laid down the law. Because there's a distinct possibility that he won't be able to figure from this point on. And no one ever likes to see it. Certainly not neutrals. I mean, those with a vested interest, the fans of Qatar will be happy to see the back of Farhad. But I should have thought those tactics were frowned upon by football officialdom. Referees are certainly, I would have thought, instructed to make sure that repeated fouls on one player are a no-no.
As it is, Farhad remains off the field of play for the moment. Goes from bad to worse for Kuwait. This has been a horrible tournament for them so far. Came in with such high expectations. Won the Asian Cup, of course, way back in 1980. The only time.
Lead Qatar 4-0 on the run into that title. Now times change.
Well, the Qatar fans are in fine voice at the Khalifa Stadium, and why not? Yellow card has been issued to Hamad Ismail. Ali. Took two Qataris to stop him. Lawrence. That's a beautiful ball. Al Sayed. Danger again for Kuwait. Just tried to square it up for Lawrence again. He gets a second go around the outside. That's a corner.
Well, he started better tonight than he has previously. Goal helps, of course. That goal under his belt, he's now looking at every possibility, every opportunity to threaten Kuwait's defence.
Randy, football isn't always about the physical, but you do get the sense that Kuwait are just being out-muscled as well as outplayed.
Yeah. Out-kicked as well. Farhad is on one leg and hobbling around. Still, they got to muscle up. You're right, Simon.
Ahmed Ismail's ball. Drops onto the top of the goal. Relief for Nawaf Al-Khaldi. So a reminder, 2-0 here at Al Gharafa. China still leading Uzbekistan by 1-0. If it remains this way, it will be Uzbekistan and Qatar to go through. First place to be decided on head-to-head records as they nearly slip it through again, Qatar, this time for Sebastian. And Uzbekistan would therefore finish top of the section. Bada. Runs into traffic. Just bounces off Rizik. Suggestion that perhaps he used an elbow as well. That's what Bada's saying. Well, they're literally being battered, Andy.
Yeah, well, the ref saw that wave play on. Muslim Risk is apologising, suggesting any contact was accidental.
Well, that doesn't tell us too much.
Well, the problem was the other end of the anatomy, wasn't it? Everything settled down.
You saw Bada's pass completion rate there, 27%.
Well, he's just under enormous pressure. He's not getting much free possession, and the odd occasion when he has been able to set things up, his options have been poor. But the only way is up for Kuwait's star man. He is in the part of the field where often pass completion is less than, say, a central defender, for most of whom there isn't a lot of pressure on them when they've got the ball. But when Bada picks up the ball, the heat's on.
Free kick for Kuwait. Foul by Sebastian.
A little frustrated for me, Sebastian. He said earlier in the game he's not in his best form and looks like he's fighting with himself to try and get back into form.
That free kick comes to naught, and news of another goal at Al Gharafa. China 1, Uzbekistan 1. So that very much puts Uzbekistan in the box seat. If it was to stay that way and stay this way here, Uzbekistan would finish top by a point from Qatar. It's a long way to go. This is Amar Matu. Rashidi along the line. Kuwait just happy to have a bit of possession, I think. Not seen too much of the ball in this opening period, which is now nearly 36 minutes old. And again, Qatar just too strong in the midfield. Ahmed looking for Al Sayed, steered back to the goalkeeper.
That's better defending from Kuwait.
Bada's prod forwards. Hamad Nayef, the lone striker for Kuwait, has barely been seen. Here's Farhad, thankfully recovered from that nasty challenge from Yusuf Ahmed. And here come Kuwait, or rather Qatar, I should say, through Hamad Ismail. Kasola.
Well, Kuwait have got themselves now 6 or more times in the good crossing positions, and I don't think they've hit the target once. They haven't found one man in the penalty area. They haven't looked like finding a teammate in the penalty area.
Short throw for variation from Kasola. Lawrence to Sebastian. Just moving Kuwait around here. Ahmed Ismail got into the byline, but he was off balance. Oh, and that's a late one from Kasola. Again, the referee goes to the top pocket. That's a second yellow for Mohamed Kasola. So he would miss any potential quarter-final Qatar might be involved in.
Well, that's a good decision from the referee. And that was just short of brutal. He was never going to win the ball. It didn't stop him from clattering in.
Short for Hamad Ismail. Amar Matu wins the throw-in for Kuwait. This is Salah Al-Sheikh. Bada Al-Mutwa. Now Yaqub Al-Tahir. Salah out for Farhad's little chip in, and Bada Al-Mutwa. Well, he made decent contact.
Yep.
That's how skillful he is as a player.
39 minutes in. It's the first completed attack, if I can put it that way, for Kuwait. Finally, a cross finds a man in blue in the box, and it was an improbable effort. However spectacular from Bada. He is a multi-talented player. That was a reasonably good action from Kuwait. Encouraging stuff.
That's a lovely ball by Bada too, to find Walid Ali. He's jigged his way past Kasola, and it's a corner off Bilal Mohammed's. Better signs for Kuwait.
And again, predictably, if it's not Farhad on the right, it's Walid Ali on the left. The predictability is that they're getting past their right and left fullback, respectively. What they're not doing is finding a man in the box. And again, the first defender couldn't be negotiated. They've won the corner, but it could have been more.
Perhaps wisely, they don't go aerially. But Al-Mutwa trying to curl it round. Well, I started to find a few solutions, Andy.
Yep. Well, they're starting to hold the ball. By there, you talked about his pass completion. Well, his last three possessions have ended up going where he wanted them to go. At least the shot didn't go where he wanted to go, but it went in the direction.
And signs that he's playing a little bit further forwards in support of Hamad Naif, the lone striker.
Yeah.
I mean, first 20 minutes, he was virtually playing on top of his own back four, because he had to.
The only question I have about the way Kuwait are lining up tonight is the absence of the number 18 in midfield, Jarrah Al-Latiki. I think he's a super central midfielder. I'd like to have seen him go up against Lawrence, the number 4 from Qatar. At the moment, Lawrence has got the run of things. But Jarrah, whether he's injured or ill, I'm not quite sure. I was surprised by his omission.
Now, Hamad Ismail, he was away there from the fullback. That's going to be another yellow, I think, for Amar Matu.
Well done, referee. It has to be a yellow card. Continues to impress. Hamad Ismail as a right winger, right midfielder. He's found his place more so than right fullback, that's for sure.
I thought it was interesting when Kuwait had a corner. Bruno Metsu quite pointedly said to Hamad Ismail, "You go up to halfway. I want you nowhere near your own penalty box." So he's clearly figured out better going forwards than defending. And he's going to take this free kick. Could Qatar find a third goal before half-time? Sebastian! And now Al-Khaldi drops gratefully on the ball. He still waits for his first goal in this Asian Cup.
It's as close as he's come too. That's the power in the man, though. Starts at his run towards goal, and then because of the flight of the ball, has to prop and head in the other direction. And he uses the angle and the speed of the ball of the delivery to force a couple of nervous moments for Nawaf Al-Khaldi. Qatar at the moment are mounting a case for having the most dynamic strike force in the competition. Sebastian and certainly in Yusuf Ahmed, who has fired, and if Sebastian fires, it's a case of look out.
Farhad's goes to ground again, but no foul this time. Al-Ghani brings it forwards. Yusuf Ahmed feeling Sebastian, forced to check. That's good defending by Hussein Fadel. Al-Sayed. Sebastian looking for the 1-2 with Hamad Ismail. Touch back from Lawrence, he'll drive. The urgings of the crowd said shoot. He was way off target. Lawrence, one of the many overseas-born Qataris, born in Ghana. He's actually been given an Arabic name, Anas Mubarak, even though his dad actually represented the Black Stars at international level many years ago.
Well, there are 5 African players, at least of African origin, in the starting 11 for Kuwait. It's an interesting recipe.
Is it fair, Andy? That's another question entirely. Yusuf Ahmed gave up the ghost initially and then decided he would have a go for it. Kuwait have got a man down. Striker Hamad Nayef. They've really suffered in this first half, haven't they? Not just on the score sheet either.
Mohamed Bilal with a knee into the posterior. Ahmad. Mohamed Bilal, number 6, the captain, the scorer of the opening goal, is a very committed defender, but I reckon he's going to struggle against a striker with Mouse. He marks so tight that a striker with a little bit of go about him, just adjust his body a little to the left or right, will sense the oncoming defender and will endlessly roll him away and into space.
Well, Uzbekistan created chances for fun, didn't they, in the opening game? They are a slightly different proposition after that win over China. So we move into injury time, of which there'll be just the 1 minute. Bada being held. Salah Al-Sheikh being carried and harassed by Hamad Ismail, who is also on a yellow card. Bada. Everything goes through Bada Al-Mutwa. It's not a bad ball. Bilal can't deal with it. Walid Ali. And Qasim Burhan does enough. Just.
Well, they got no punch. No punch in the final analysis. Walid Ali needs to do more. The first touch is poor, and that gives Qatar the chance to defend it. Bada asked the question. Mohamed Bilal can only glance the head up. Walid Ali not delivering what was required, and another half chance goes begging for Kuwait.
Bada with the corner. Easy for the goalkeeper. And the end of the first half, which has been almost completely dominated by the hosts. Qatar leading by 2-0. Their captain Bilal Mohammed after 12 minutes. And then Mohammed Al-Sayed with the second just a few minutes later. Kuwait have really suffered at the hands of Qatar, particularly physically. But Bruno Metsu's side have imposed their will on this game, and they deservedly lead at the interval by 2-0. Well, Andy, the Kuwaitis not particularly happy with some of their treatment in the first period. Do you think they've been harshly done by?
Well, I think they've got a case. I don't know about harshly done by. I think the repeated attention to Farhad Al-Wanezi, the number 7, the headbanded one, has been too much. And there has been some rough treatment, but the other half of that equation from Kuwait is they've got to stand up, flex some muscle and stand up for themselves.
Well, as it stands, Qatar will be joining Uzbekistan in the quarterfinals. They've only ever made the last 8 once. Remember, that was back in 2000, but they got off to a great start. Bilal Mohammed with a powerful header after 12 minutes. And then Mohammed Al Sayed with the second goal just a few moments later. And the scoreline looks pretty comfortable. A reminder that in the other game at Al Gharafa, it's China 1, Uzbekistan 1. Here's the first half highlights, and really, Andy, Qatar stated their intentions right from the off.
Well, second game in a row, they've come out really strongly from the beginning with the starting whistle. It's worked well for them. They've got the brilliant lead here, as they did against China the other night, and the opponents shell-shocked. And very defendable, however, on both occasions. Both goals that were conceded. It's just a case of poor marking. Noah Al-Kaldi in the Kuwait goal, left exposed. Would have been a remarkable piece of work to have kept that one out. Bilal Mohammed just unmarked. And he has been, for 3 games now, 2.5 games, one of Qatar's best. Plenty of heroes in game 2, not many in game 1. He's still aimed up. In game 3, he gets his reward. And the second goal is completely rudimentary. Well, I'm not quite sure how that classes as defending. It's comical. And they've got what they deserved. There was a slight claim that El Sayed had come from an offside position, but assistant and referee both disagreed with that notion. Bruno Metsu can't believe his good fortune. His team off and away. I mean, this is very, very defendable.
Hussein Fadel, the man with the error who lets it bounce. I'm just wondering whether maybe he got a call from the goalkeeper, because it didn't even shape as if he was going to head it.
Well, he couldn't have got a call, or else the keeper would have cleaned it up. I think he's just assumed that this is going to be a keeper's ball. There was no communication, and it's just like a house of cards from that point on.
Good finish, though.
A really good finish. Both good finishes. But Al Mohammed's goal was a good one too, and this has been not constant enough for Kuwait. Constantly getting the ball out to the crossing position with Farhad and Walid Ali, but not enough delivery into the penalty area.
Yeah, Kuwait really feeding off scraps. Sebastian Soria, of course, still without a goal in this tournament. That was as close as he has come in the first half. And this is probably Kuwait's best chance. It came in the first minute of injury time, but Walid Ali not sure enough with his touch nor his shot. So that's the way we are at half-time. Qatar with a comfortable lead, and at the moment at least, comfortably heading towards the last 8. 8 shots on target for the hosts, 5 for Kuwait. Funnily enough, Kuwait have had a little bit more of the ball, but of course it is what you do with it. And Al Nabi have been far more threatening, no doubt about that. So 2-0 at the interval, 1-1 between China and Uzbekistan. Well, there might be a few twists and turns still to come in this Group A. All will be revealed in the second half.
It's time for an optimized learning environment. Augmented reality navigation services with a large display. A full-web browsing experience. Easy solutions wherever, whenever you go. And a complete communication solution. Perfect and sound. More possibilities on the go. Samsung Galaxy Z.
Welcome back to the Khalifa Stadium in Doha, where Qatar lead Kuwait by 2-0 at the interval, and are within 45 minutes, maybe, of qualifying for the quarterfinals for only the second time in their history. They've been good value in the first half as the players re-emerge. Goals from Bilal Mohammed and Mohammed Al Sayed means that Bruno Metsu's half-time team talk will have been rather more comfortable, you'd wager, than Goran Tefekzic, his Kuwaiti compatriot. Large crowd inside the Khalifa Stadium, not full though, which is perhaps interesting, may raise one or two eyebrows around the world, with the World Cup hosting, of course, to come to this part of the world in 2022. But certainly the team is proving it belongs on the regional stage and can be competitive. Now, Qatar going into their usual huddle. Again, the team talk conducted in English. Multinational national side, of course, Al-Anabi. And Kuwait are going to make a change. They're going to bring on one of their most prolific strikers, Ahmad Ajab. 11 goals in 23 internationals he has. Plays in Saudi Arabia for Al Shabab, one of the few overseas-based players in the Al Azraq national team, and he's going to replace a defender, Yaqub Al Taha. So we'll see if that makes a change to the formation. As Kuwait's prepared to get us back underway. So Al Azraq really bullied out of the game in the first half. Andy Harper, is there a way back into this contest and the competition for them? Looks unlikely.
It does look unlikely. It looks like a long shot, but Goran Tefekzic isn't going to hang around and wait and see. Changing a defender for a striker. Unfortunately, Ahmad Ajab is part of their hard luck story for Kuwait. Had a great chance against Uzbekistan to equalise from about 6 yards late in the game, but his volley blazed over.
Barda nips in ahead of Wissam Rizk. That's a good ball too, and onside as the substitute. Well, that would have been quite an entry.
Well, as no one needs telling, a goal can change everything. Bilal Mohammed, some sloppy work, probably caught Ajab by surprise, and then lacked complete conviction, needed to be more positive, needed to take some more space that was open to him, needed to close the angle in on goal, and needed to be more decisive. I mean, that's just a waffle effort.
Walid Ali.
Another good position, another poor cross. But not 2 minutes into the start of the second half, and Kuwait have already had 2 attacks. Qatar have to watch it, that they don't allow Kuwait back into the game from a winning position.
Farhad winning the header. Ibrahim Majed gets the ball back from Wissam Rizk. There's Farhad again, but gives it away. Wissam, that's a glorious ball with the outside of the boot. Ahmed Ismail took it first time, and the goalkeeper and defender rather getting in each other's way as they concede the corner. Kuwait, a sign perhaps of their nervousness. There was nobody in the box, in fact, for Qatar.
No. I don't know if there's any problem with telling each other what you're doing, but there was no Qatari player within miles. They've conceded a corner where they didn't need to.
That's easy enough for the goalkeeper. Now news of another goal. That's Al Gharafa. Uzbekistan leading China now by 2-1.
So as things stand, Uzbekistan qualify first, Qatar qualify second, Kuwait and China at the airport tomorrow morning.
Yusuf Ahmed with the flick to Mohamed Al Sayed. Sebastian Soria is down behind play. Back up on his feet now, and play doesn't need to stop. Salah Al-Sheikh with nowhere to go, but back to Farhad. It looks as though he's playing a much more defensive role in the second half, Andy.
Well, they've gone from a 4-4-1-1 in the first half to a 4-4-2.
But they're still coughing up cheap possession, and Sebastian just couldn't get it around Ahmad Al-Rashidi. Otherwise, they were away again there, Qatar.
Barely looks himself tonight, Sebastian Soria. But you're right, Simon. Farhad has gone back to right fullback. He'll still be expected to attack from that position.
Nassim Burhan using the boots to deflect it away from Ahmad Ajab.
And Ajab has joined Hamad up front. They're a twin force. But Mutwa has moved out to right midfield.
Soria just got clipped on the back of the head. Maybe a bit lower than that, in the throat. This is Amar Motad. Goal kick. Well, they're just not able to deal with Qatar physically, are they, Kuwait?
Well, he's beaten him for speed. Now, he's either got to be stronger on his feet. In fact, he has to be stronger on his feet. The referee's not going to blow for fouls like that. But he'd had him beaten completely for speed, which is one of his big advantages. He's very tricky with the ball at his feet. He's got good technique. He dribbles nicely. But he's just got to be stronger of mind and body once he's got that advantage. Talking of Walid Ali.
Ahmad Al-Rashidi. Pulled up from infringements. Nassim Burhan doesn't want to give the referee the ball here. He wants to do up his bootlaces instead. Yeah, just a minute, ref.
How big are those boots, just quietly?
Qatar subs going through some limbering up exercises. The referee's blown the whistle again. Come on, ref. Let's get on with it. Kasola hangs it up. That's a good header one by Hussein Fadel. Now perhaps the break is on for Kuwait in the shape of Bada Al-Mutwa. Issam Rizk for company. Good trickery by Bada. Little 1-2 as well. Oh, he's been pushed down in the box. That surely is a penalty, is it not? Or perhaps you think otherwise, Andy?
He was feeling for the contact. I thought he went down a bit early, which is not to say it's not a penalty.
No, you're right. You're right.
It's way too early, but he was feeling for that contact. And I just hope for the Kuwaitis they're not looking for an easier way out. We saw Walid Ali make beautiful space for a cross, decided to play for the free kick instead just a minute or two ago. And Bada Al-Mutwa chasing down the wall pass. Again, just waited for the nearest of contact before he collapsed.
Farhad. Talal. Al-Rashidi. Hussein Fadel. Credit to Qatar. May have been over physical on occasion, but it's been a very aggressive performance, as it was against China. So far, it's paying dividends. Now, foot race between defender and Yusuf Ahmed, but now Al-Khaldi out to the edge of the box.
He was always favoured there, Naif Al-Khaldi. favoured because, again, the pass from Sebastian just was so overweighted. Most unlike him. Yusuf Ahmed, who runs like a gazelle, nearly got there.
Too far for Wissam Rizk. Right against the corner.
Well, they're coming, Kuwait. Sure as eggs, they're coming. They've had the better of the second half. They haven't made the most of the couple of half chances they've had to really put Qatar under pressure, but nevertheless, they're still coming.
Barda's corner. Goalkeeper didn't get that. Miscontrol by Talal. And then a foul on Wissam. Clear tug on the jersey. I think it came off Mohamed Kasola rather than the fists of the goalkeeper. Touched by Hamid Ismail. Lawrence. Wissam Rizk. Now Syed is the option wide left, and he finds it. A glorious ball. He's all right foot, Mohamed Al Syed, but he's managed to force the set piece off the boot of Farhad. Qatar in no hurry to get on with this. And the ball is actually outside the corner quadrant, but nobody appears to have noticed. Doesn't matter anyway. Well fielded by Nawaf Al-Khaldi, who is rated by many as being second best goalkeeper in Asia, behind Ali Al-Habsi.
I wonder where that puts Mark Schwarzer.
That's very true. Maybe he was accepted from that list.
Surely on the throne of Asian goalkeepers, Mark Schwarzer.
Perhaps West Asia. This is Barda. Too much on that. Of course, Kuwait were one of the countries, Andy, that were pretty much against Australia joining the Asian Confederation. So maybe they excluded Mark Schwarzer.
On that basis, you reckon? Well, I think it's probably a fair assessment that whilst Australia is part of Asia, it might take a little bit of time before people see Australia as Asian. But I think for both parties, for Australia and for Asia as a whole, it's a great relationship. You know, we in Australia declaring our identity, if it was ever a mystery. Absolutely grateful to be in Asia, and I should think Asia is better for having Australia involved.
Now, high drama in the match at Al Gharafa. It's now 2-2 between China and Uzbekistan. So maybe China aren't quite dead yet. Wonder if the Qatari players are being kept in the loop about events at Al Gharafa. Now Farhad in behind, had to take it first time though, was coming at quite a pace. Sebastian jumping at the defender rather than the ball, and Kuwait is a trifle unhappy they didn't get the free kick there.
Yeah, that's a little cameo of what Qatar have done really well, which has been unfamiliar to a lot of observers of Qatari football and this national team of recent times, but from a secondary position, you're right, Sebastian did make a challenge. Whether it was legal or not, who knows? But then Wissam Rizik was straight in there to assist his striker teammate.
Barda. Well, that was a cross that very nearly fell into the path of Ahmad Ajab,
who really was quite within his rights to have slid in and tried to make some contact on that. It's more a shot than a cross. Ajab has to anticipate better. Well, not that it was a clear-cut chance or even would have got there, but a striker of his repute needs to have better anticipation than he just showed. Things are desperate after all.
And as we said against China, Andy, if the opposition were to nick a goal, would probably make Qatar a wee bit nervous.
Yeah.
Not the best defensively.
No question about that. And a first-hand experience, we've seen what Kuwait are like with a goal under their belt and a bit of self-belief. Things can change in the twink of an eye.
Clear push on Barda.
Qatar continue with this tactic. They're intent on not letting Kuwait get into any sort of flow.
Yusuf Ahmed has had a much quieter night tonight, hasn't he, than he had against China. So too Kassim Burhan, but maybe that's about to change. If Barda can get this delivery right. There's not too much height in the Kuwait side. What there is up there. Acrobatically cleared by Lawrence. Returned with interest towards Barda, and that's going to be a goal kick.
Yeah, plenty of time. Needs better. International level football. You only get half chances sometimes to set up an opposing runner. Good clearance. Spectacular clearance from Lawrence. Well, the ball made its way out to Yaqub Al-Taher, who had plenty of time to drop the ball on a spot, which is what he needed to do. He hit his pass, Barda couldn't retrieve it. That's where Kuwait need to improve. They have a lot of good lead-up play. Plenty of times the final pass lets them down.
Yellow card for a challenge on Hamid Ismail. Salah Al-Sheikh into the notebook. Well, there was contact. Well, it's almost he banged it with his backside.
It was a good hip and shoulder. Except what gave him up was, when the referee picked this, he had no eye for the ball. He was completely looking at the man.
He certainly gave Hamid Ismail the bomb's rush there, you could say. Another change for Kuwait. The man who's just been booked, Salah, is going to be replaced by Aziz Mashan. Aziz is a midfielder. He's the only Kuwaiti who actually plays in Europe. Plays in Bosnia for Jedinspor Bihać. He scored in that game against Australia we were talking about in the Asian Cup qualifier last year. Now, there's a bit of push and shove involving Bilal Mohammed. Now everybody's getting involved. All handbags, really. Hussein Fadel and Bilal Mohammed.
Well, they both lost it. They're taking quite some restraint.
Two rugged central defenders, and Bilal will not be calmed. initially Bilal went for the handshake, and Hussein Fadl was having none of it. And they ended up at each other's throats, almost literally.
Yeah. Oh. Hussein Fadl had lost his temper completely. Contact to me looked incidental, nothing in it. Bilal Muhammad went to acknowledge that with an extended hand. Let's see if it's a kiss and make up session here.
Well, no yellow card issued.
Fair enough. It could have been worse.
Running the gauntlet, wasn't he, Hussein Fadl? When you raise your hands to an opponent, you're normally lucky to escape a yellow card, but Abdul Malik likes to referee with a smile on his face.
Well, I think that was good refereeing. Vexed position for the official there. He can be within his rights to administer the yellow card if he has, in all possession of the facts, confident players have been unnecessarily aggressive, but that can be rather inflammatory. I think he's handled that one well. And in any event, Mohammed Bilal, the captain of Qatar, is sitting on a yellow card. Another would render him absent for the quarter-final. They could scarce do without him. He's the centre point of their defence.
Already going to be without Mohamed Kasola. That gives them a problem. So they play Ahmed Ismail at right back again, offside against Ibrahim Majid.
I think we can answer that categorically. No, they do so at their own peril.
No, he was a bit of a liability in that role, wasn't he? They do have Mesad Al-Hamed in the squad, who is a natural right-sided defender stroke wing-back, so he may be the option for them. They'll lose a lot of physicality down that flank, though, without Kasola. Al-Sayed.
The likelihood, or the knowledge that this group crosses over with Japan's group, and the likelihood that Japan will top their group. They play Saudi tomorrow. Jordan, Syria playoff. Hang on to your hats for that one. That's a winner-take-all clash.
So presuming that Uzbekistan gets something out of their game with China, then it would be Japan and Qatar.
Yeah.
Well, that's the most likely scenario. Anyway.
Yeah.
Would you fancy Qatar in that game, Andy?
Not at this point. But let me think about it.
I think in fairness, if Bruno Metsu gets this team out of the group, that will probably be considered somewhat of a success. Of course, they'd love to go further.
Yeah.
But realistically, their FIFA ranking doesn't lie. They're ahead of only India in this Asian Cup. So to make the last 8 would be a bonus for all those dressed in purple scarves tonight, of which there are a fair few. I wonder if they'll sell out against Japan.
You give up trying to work it out. You would have expected it to be full tonight. The crowd that is here is boisterous and vocal. There's no question about that.
Well, this game just going through the motions at the moment. Midway points of the second half. Kuwait had a little flurry at the start of the period, but haven't really been able to sustain that or put any real pressure on Qasim Burhan's goal. Maybe Barda can here. He's a long way out, but he'll drive for goal.
showing all the signs of a team that is losing belief, if indeed it's got any left. It's a shot more in hope than in anything else.
It's been a miserable tournament for them, Andy.
Terrible. They played without luck in the first couple of games, and they've played without application in this one, and it counted. They had only one roll of the dice left. One of the questions that remains for this match is now, at what point does Bruno Metsu protect players who are sitting on yellow cards? If they're going to have any chance in the next round, if it is to be against Japan, then surely Bilal Muhammad, the captain, Yusuf Ahmed, the star striker, have to be part of that equation. I wouldn't be waiting much longer before I put them in cotton wool.
Ahmed Ismail is also on a yellow, which may be part of his thinking from that problematic right fullback role.
And then they're already going to lose Mohamed Kusola for the next game, so he may as well finish in the centre of defence. He can take Bilal's place.
Too far for Yusuf Ahmed.
And Messad Ali, as you said, could come in at right back and get some game time under his belt. Not as though they're going to lose a lot from this point on.
It's Yusuf Ahmed down with a problem. Well, he had to come off injured, didn't he, in the second game. Looks as though he's pointing to the same sort of area that was giving him trouble against China.
Fabio Cesar is stripped and about to take his place. To do with him running into some form as well. Although I remain unconvinced as to whether he's got the clout to trouble a Japan.
Bada. And those sort of balls just don't hurt teams, do they? And this is Al Sayed, scorer of the second goal for Qatar in the first half. Wissam Rizk. Sebastian stretching, again, can't get on the ball. Ibrahim Majid, good play. There's not too many bombing forward for Qatar. They're seemingly pretty content with their two-goal cushion.
As they should be. As they should be. Got to keep the back door closed. Q80 goal would make things unnecessarily nerve-wracking for the home team, the hosts.
And here's Fahad trying to provide one. Good ball too. Ahmed Ajab left. Didn't get enough contact on it. Just a worrying moment for Qatar. Walid Ali wins them another throw-in, Kuwait. Here's the change for Qatar. And as you pointed out, Andy, it is going to be Yusuf Ahmed. Perhaps a slight concern over the injury, but more likely is that yellow card that he's sitting on.
We've got a very warm send-off by three of the Q80 players who made their way to congratulate him. He's one to watch. He is one to watch.
Here's Fabio Cesar, Brazilian-born, of course. Played in the first game against Uzbekistan. Missed out on the second due to injury. There's his first touch. Plays for Al Rayyan. Raised.
Well, I think one of the
sorry, Andy.
Sorry, no, I'm sorry. I think one of the key tactical errors that Kuwait have made today is balls into the front line that have engaged the two central defenders, Bilal Mohammed, Ibrahim Al-Ghanim. They're good, solid defenders, so don't engage them one-on-one there. Their strength, as far as I was concerned, was that space between the two central defenders and the central midfielders. That's where Badr Al-Mutwa could have done some damage, but they just haven't been able to work the ball or look to work the ball into that part of the field with any sort of regularity. I think it's been a real shortcoming of their approach tonight, Kuwait. Of course, a lot of the plans they might have had probably thrown out the window because of the really poor start defensively.
And also that injury to Farhad Al-Anazi on the right. He's not the same player since, has he?
No, exactly. Well, he was cynically taken out of the contest.
Walid Ali gets a decent ball in there.
And that's
Ahmed
just
Nayef.
too soft. And he's just so soft.
Walid Ali wins it back momentarily. Yeah, they've not competed physically, have they?
Well, I mean, that was just ridiculous. Zero contest involved there.
Now, Ibrahim Majed has had his pocket picked. Oh, and another dreadfully weak pass from Ahmed Ajad. They're just not at the races, Andy, Kuwait. They look like a team that is waiting for the final whistle and for the plane home. Such a disappointment after their good form going into this game, or this competition, I should say. Quarter of an hour to go. The official attendance figure, 28,339, which is actually lower than the game against China. Go figure. Farhad Al-Anazi's statistics. You can see that most of his work has been done on or around the halfway line since that injury in particular. This is Lawrence. Al-Sayed's in behind, down he goes, no penalty. And Kuwait bring it clear through Badr Al-Mutwa. Good run. Stopped in their tracks though by Ibrahim Al-Ghanim. Fabio Cesar down the line for Sebastian. That's a clumsy challenge. And Hussein Fadel, who escaped a yellow card for the little fracas with Bilal Mohammed, is not so lucky on that occasion.
The Mercury hasn't settled at all for Hussein Fadel. Just earlier was looking to invite Bilal Mohammed behind the stands for a settling of the dispute, and his blood hasn't settled at all as he's just run straight through Sebastian.
And it's Hussein Fadel's second yellow of the competition. He will be playing no further parts in any potential quarter-final, but well, that would require a miracle for Kuwait. Ahmed Al-Sayed has fallen awkwardly. That little passage of play a few moments ago. Looks as though he's got an injury to the arm. Maybe a dislocated finger. So we'll continue without Al-Sayed for the moment. Al-Ghanim, long ball, beautifully chested down by Hamid Ismail. Corner for Kuwait. There is Mohammed Al Sayed with some strapping applied to that damaged finger. And there's going to be a third and final change for Kuwait. Ahmad Nayef, who has been almost completely anonymous tonight, is replaced for the final 10 minutes by Khalifa. Corner whipped in with pace. Foul on the substitutes. And the change is coming thick and fast. Kuwait are going to withdraw Mohammed Al Sayed, who picked up that injury some moments ago, and Ali Afif will come off the bench for the second time of this tournament. Super goal he scored tonight, Mohammed Al Sayed, who's contributed again.
Yeah, beautiful finish.
And this is Farhad Al-Anazi for Kuwait. Ahmed Ajab. Oh, not too far away. That's the best chance they've had, Kuwait.
And that is a route to goal that hasn't been consistent enough. It's a real strength of this Kuwait team. The trickery of their wingers. Farhad delivering, Ajab with a really tasty header. Looked to steer it past Qasim Burham, who was beaten.
Here's one of the substitutes, as is Mashan. Here's the muscular Khalifa. That's a good ball too. Farhad, can they get the delivery right, or it was behind Ahmed Ajab?
How many times? It has been a constant theme in Kuwait's 3 games.
Only scored once at this tournament. That was a penalty from Bada Al-Mutwa. There's still time for them to make the host nervous if they could nick one. For the most part, their approach has been too predictable and too timid. Changes have helped a bit. Aziz Masha gets a free kick. Hussein Fadl has ventured forward to offer some height. Abdul Malik again calming things down. Again Hussein, who's seen the red mist a couple of times tonight, heavily involved. Brought down by Khalifa illegally. Use of the arm. Confirmation of Qatar's second change. Ali Afif for Mohammed Al Sayed. Minutes to go of normal time. Qatar cruising towards the last 8. Still China 2, Uzbekistan 2 at Al Gharafa. Sebastian Soria gets a kick in the face for his troubles. fit and in form, Sebastian, could potentially cause China a few concerns, Andy. Japan, not?
Japan?
Did I say
China?
China, sorry. I meant Japan.
Yes, I knew what you meant. I just wanted to clarify. Definitely. Definitely. And with Yusuf Ahmed causing trouble as well, I think there's enormous potential in that partnership. It's whether or not they can get the ball consistently against Japan, if indeed that is the quarter-final matchup.
Well, he has caused a problem here because he's won a free kick, Sebastian Soria. Needless to say, Qatar don't agree. They feel they haven't had the rub of the green tonight from the referee, but look, I mean, he's almost got full hold of him.
He's just dished out 2 yellow cards in the one sequence. That's 5 now for Kuwait.
Tal Al-Lama got the first.
Waleed Ali the second.
Well, you do wonder whether Goran Tufekzic is going to have something to say about the refereeing again tonight. He was pretty critical of Ben Williams in the first game for sending off his defender, Messayed. They, of course, got a 2-game ban, which was considered a bit harsh as well by many. They've certainly suffered in terms of yellow cards tonight. Now, could this be the icing on the cake for Qatar? 5 minutes to go. Free kick right on the edge of the box. If they can ever get the wall to retreat the full 10 metres, that is. Fabio Cesar! A cherry on top for Qatar. A clinical finish from the set piece. And Qatar, it seems, are heading for the last 8.
Well, if there was any doubt remaining, it's all gone now. Qatar home and hosed. Kuwait have collapsed under the weight of pressure and lack of self-belief, poor concentration, lack of application. And the third's taken a while in coming, and it was worth the wait. Off the bench, to the free kick, and to the back of the net. Expertly taken from Fabio. Kuwait have finished. Qatar live on.
Well, he was born in Brazil, and that was a very Brazilian-type free kick. Beautifully placed. 3-0 Qatar. And the party can begin at the Khalifa Stadium. Ali Afif, by the way, picked up a yellow card for over-exuberant celebrations. But I don't think he'll care too much. It is very much Qatar's night. Surely anything Kuwait gets here will be no more than consolation. Waleed Ali making good progress. Can they find the finish? No. Sums up Kuwait's nights, and that of their star man Bada Al-Mutawa. He's tried pretty hard this evening, Andy, but he's not had much support.
He's had no mates. He's had only few mates. Farhad Al-Nazi on the right-hand side, the number 7, has been a constant effort, threat. There hasn't been a lot in blue shirt tonight. Apparently not a lot of love lost between the two nations either. Qataris are enjoying this victory. There's been plenty of verbal, plenty of push and shove on the field, and now Now from their safe position of a 3-goal cushion, the Qatari fans are giving Kuwait plenty.
Well, Kuwait known as Al Azraq, the blue, and they must be feeling pretty blue after this performance. Indeed, this tournament. They must be scratching their heads. Such a good build-up. Here's the third and final change for Qatar. Mohamed Kasola, who won't play in the quarterfinals, but has certainly played his parts tonight and over the last 2 games, in fact. He gets a standing ovation before he's replaced by Masad Al-Hamad. Has he had to make a save, Qasim Burhan, tonight, Tony?
Just once off Walid Ali in the first half.
That's right.
He glanced at it from Mohamed Bilal. Found Walid Ali on the left post. He couldn't control his first touch well enough, and he forced a smother from Qasim Burhan, otherwise not much. He took that overhead off Badr Al-Mutwar as well in the first half. Second half, very little.
Qatar, too strong, too good. Three minutes of injury time. And providing the scoreline stays the same at Al Gharafa, 2-2, last we heard. And Qatar will have booked their place in the quarterfinals for only the second time in their history. And for the hosts, a last 8 appearance is the minimum requirement, really.
Well, excellent incentive for Japan to go hard against Saudi tomorrow. Saudi, of course, out of contention, but they can provide nuisance value for the Blue Samurai. Will be desperate to top that group now. They'll certainly fancy their chances against Qatar, more so than Uzbekistan in the quarter-final.
Yeah, Uzbekistan could be a dangerous smoky in this tournament as Badr again tries to provide for Ahmad Ajab. Lawrence releasing Hamad Ismail as they go looking for a 4th goal, Qatar.
Well defended from Amir Matuk. Hamad's got plenty of space about him. Here's the goal again. And you watch those over and over. We've seen some pretty good goals here at the Khalifa. Akhmadov to get things going, game 1. Yusuf Ahmed with 2 stunners here. The match against China, and the free kick from Fabio.
Short corner routine. Oh, is that a push inside the box? The Qataris thought so. Abdul Malik didn't. By the way, Qatar have managed to do what only Bahrain and Australia have done at this tournament, and that's score more than 2 goals in a match. Of course, both those other occasions were against India.
South Korea haven't played India yet.
Yeah, you fancy they might. Some of the Qatar fans thought that was the final whistle, but not so. Another look at the goal. Beautifully taken. And the taunting goes on in the stands between the 2 Arab neighbours. Glance at the watch by Abdul Malik. Unless there's late drama in Al Gharafa, Qatar are through. They love Qatar, and well, certainly they Love the way they've played in the last 2 games. And the full-time whistle goes. A beaming smile on the face of Bruno Metsu. He feels his team has done enough. They certainly did tonight. They have defeated Kuwait by 3 goals to 0. A convincing victory. Never really in doubt, Andy Harper, from the first whistle.
They just put too much pressure on Kuwait, who evidently didn't come in the right framework, mental framework. They were too soft too early. They bundied off. Qatar smashed them. No way back for Kuwait. And all the good football that they promised in the first 2 games, Kuwait, didn't materialise game 3. They can consider themselves unfortunate game 1 and game 2, but only with themselves to blame with it all on the line here at the Khalifa Stadium for game 3. Qatar, for their bit, they learned their lessons after being humiliated by Uzbekistan in the opening night. And against China, they were excellent. And against Kuwait, they were just too good. The big question for them now is if they can take the same form into their quarter-final.
Well, the party has begun in Doha. Only the second time they've made the knockout phase. The first time 11 years ago. Of course, that's not 100% confirmed. We still await the final whistle in Al Gharafa. Still 2-2 between China and Uzbekistan. They feel they've done enough. Bilal Mohammed, by the way, has been voted the man of the match. Not just for his goal, but the way he led his team and marshalled his defence. And Kuwait just had no answer. The only issue really for Bruno Metsu, presuming his team has gone through, is how he restructures that defence, Andy. He's had to do it once in this tournament, shifting Hamad Ismail up to midfield and bringing in the very impressive Mohamed Kasola into defence, but of course he will be suspended for the quarters.
Well, Messad Ali will come on the right full-back. Do a straight swap. They'll lose a fair bit of muscle with that change. Superb captain, Mohamed Bilal. Been good for 3 games now. Scored the goal that set his team away. Interestingly, he's got the shirt of the player with whom he had the set to.
That's right, Hussein Fadl.
That's a nice gesture. What happens on the field stays on the field.
Well, a little bit of history for Qatar. The last time they hosted the Asian Cup back in 1988, they went out at the first round stage. But they weren't going to die wondering tonight. Bilal Mohammed setting them on their way. Second goal from Mohamed El Sayed. And Fabio Cesar wrapping it up with a few minutes to go. And confirmation that China have drawn 2-2 with Uzbekistan. So it's Uzbekistan and Qatar that go through to the last 8.